welcome back to the podcast. I'm Crystal.
I'm Hannah Neal.
And today's episode is all about wireless EV charging.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this episode or this topic yet in all of the episodes we've done so far. And it is really interesting because we know EV charging as plug-in, and that's kind of been the standard for many, many years now. But wireless charging is something that's coming up more and more. And so we just wanted to explore that and see, how that works and what it's all about.
Yeah, so I sat down with Adam Halsey, who is the VP of Business Development at a company called InductEV. And he just came on and shared the technology that that's already out there for fleets. So right now, they primarily operate with transit buses, to provide wireless charging solutions. And they are across Canada and the US and also outside of North America as well. Mm-hmm. So he just kind of shared a little bit about what that technology was like and what are the benefits of having wireless charging. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy my conversation with Adam. Hi, Adam. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
My pleasure. How are you?
Good. So can we just start off by telling our audience a little bit about yourself and about InductEV?
Yeah, sure. No problem. So InductEV is a developer and provider of high-power wireless charging equipment, primarily for medium to heavy-duty vehicles. We've been in business for 15 years now, and we have over 130 vehicles on the road today. And I am the VP of Business Development with a focus on North American transit fleet vehicles.
So transit fleet, so we're looking at primarily buses and passenger vehicles?
Yeah, so medium to heavy duty buses, that could be anything from a shuttle bus up to a 40-foot, 60-foot, or even double decker. So those are primarily my focus.
So can you explain to us a little bit about how wireless charging works for EVs?
Yeah, so there are three main components. There's a power electronics cabinet that supplies energy to what we call a ground assembly, which then induces a current into the vehicle assembly. And that sends energy to the vehicle's battery. So this is quite similar to conventional conductive charging technology that we're all used to. However, the interface between the vehicle and the external charging equipment is wireless, meaning that the energy is actually transferred by an electromagnetic field through the air rather than a plug or electromechanical device.
Right. And you said you have about 130 vehicles right now that you work with. Mm-hmm. So my assumption is that for an EV to be compatible with the wireless charging technology, it has to be retrofitted for that. Is that correct?
So we prefer to be a factory OEM option. However, retrofits are possible. The main requirement for a retrofit is cooperation with the vehicle manufacturer, as the communications and safety systems must, of course, interface correctly. Other than that, there needs to be enough space to integrate the equipment into the vehicle and enough height between the bottom of the vehicle and the ground. But when all of that is in alignment, it may be about a 4-month engineering effort. And that's roughly the same whether or not we're doing it to be a factory order option, in which case the vehicle OEM provides it to their customers directly, or in a retrofit scenario, as you mentioned.
Hey. And so can you just tell us maybe a little bit about the advantages of wireless charging compared to like the traditional plug-in method?
Right. So there are different advantages for different use cases. But for my customers, so the big transit fleet customers, wireless charging typically enhances range, reliability, and safety. Also, in addition to this, there are often financial and environmental benefits.
Can you just maybe elaborate a little bit more about that? Because my first question was, I'm just curious to know how it prolongs the range.
So wireless inductive charging enables opportunity charging. So most of us with our own EVs are familiar with plugging it in for a long duration overnight. and that definitely has its place. However, with heavy duty, high performing electric vehicles of all types, they typically like to have energy while they're in service added to them. Okay, so this is the same even for trolley buses or streetcars. Big heavy electric vehicles have a very hard time carrying enough energy on board. And if you're like me, you may actually prefer a smaller energy storage device, smaller, cheaper battery with less waste. And so when that is the case, you need to pick up energy while the vehicle is working, so while it's out in its service territory. And so you need to charge quickly and seamlessly at a very high power for very short little bites of time. And so as you can imagine, an electromechanical device or a person trying to do that would not be optimal from a practical standpoint. So a wireless interface does that quite well. So really, to answer your range question, is that we enable high power opportunity charging in a practical setting, especially in places like northern climates like Canada.
So I asked you about what are the advantages. So now I have to ask you, are there any disadvantages to the wireless charging?
Right. So from mine and my customers' point of view, definitely up there on the challenges can be ensuring that their preferred make and model of vehicle offers wireless inductive charging. So while InductEV is a factory order option available on many OEMs, and that is a list that we work very hard to continually increase, there's still work to be done to ensure that every popular battery electric vehicle offers InductEV.
And because this is new to me, do these vehicles then go to a wireless charging station? Where are they charging?
Yeah, so that also depends on your operational philosophy. So with big transit buses, for example, you may have the chargers located around town at the end of the line, places where they might sit and dwell a little bit longer than just like a typical bus stop. But you can also put it in an overnight charging scenario as well. So it may be different for a big transit bus versus a light vehicle or a personal vehicle. There are other organizations developing low power for your home garage type application. But for my applications with transit, it's typically around the service territory is where they locate the equipment.
Hey, can you maybe just share a little bit about how you see wireless charging evolving in the future?
Absolutely. So I think like your handheld device or distribution center robotics, like at an Amazon distribution center, the trend is definitely for electric vehicle charging to be moving towards wireless inductive charging. And this is definitely being accelerated by the autonomous vehicles that continue to come online. You can't charge an electric vehicle autonomously without wireless charging, in our opinion. And it's not really autonomous if you have to use a human or something else to do it. And this is evidenced by Tesla that has recently stated that all of their robo-taxis will be exclusively wirelessly charged. So there's only one way to charge the forthcoming robo-taxi fleet from Tesla, and that's wireless.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of opportunities. And speaking of opportunities, are there any plans to expand, particularly around Canada?
Great question. So InductEV is already available on full-size transit buses, shuttle buses, and even yard tractors in every Canadian province. So that may surprise you, we're new to the landscape here in Canada, but we are already available on every one of those vehicle classes. Not necessarily every make and model, but there are all different sizes of full-size buses and shuttles available if you want them.
So across Canada, I was surprised. I didn't know you're in all the provinces already.
That is correct.
That's exciting. And are there any plans to expand to light duty or personal vehicles?
Another great question. So this may also surprise you, but we already have a fleet of over 20 Volvo taxis operating in Gothenburg, Sweden. and they are all wireless. So you can Google this and find it. It's really neat looking. It's been working for years. They love it. The project has been very successful. And so based on that alone, I would say, yes, I expect you'll be seeing more of our technology on light vehicles.
Any guess on when that'll come to North America? I know I always make my guests a little uncomfortable when I ask them to give me a date.
If you asked about transit fleets, I could give you very good estimates on when certain aspects will be here in Canada and in the US. For light vehicles, I mean, definitely with the autonomous light vehicles, I think you're within 3 years. I think within 3 years, the Waymos and the Tesla robotaxis of the world will be wireless. I mean, that's already being planned. In terms of, I think for just conventional public use, I think it will follow that. So you may be looking at 5 years for conventional light vehicles to adopt wireless charging. But it is being worked on.
Well, thank you for letting me put you on the spot a little bit. And we won't hold you to that. We know that this is just kind of a best guess, but I really appreciate you taking some time to come on the podcast and share some of your expertise with our listeners.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the EV Life podcast. Make sure that you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if you'd like to join the conversation, you can always do so in the EV Life group on the AMA mobile app. We'll talk to you in the next episode.